Thank you for joining us today on the English version of our program Para Ser Legal. Today we're going to do something a little bit differently. We're going to talk specifically about the coronavirus, since it's affecting everybody across borders in the US, in Europe, in South America. It's affecting everyone. Coronavirus, it's a little hard to think about. It's hard to feel the individual risk when you know many people aren't going to get sick. And it's really hard to act based on a potential problem. This isn't an immigration issue per se. But today we're making an exception because we're called to act. It will take each and every one of us to come together to protect our neighbors and our families. It's a personal issue too. Most of us have older parents who are very much at risk of hospitalization or death. So we wanted to share these 2 points to help you think about the coronavirus and what to do about it. Afterwards, we'll tell you what you can do and what we at Andres Mejer Law are doing to respond to this issue that crosses borders, crosses races. It's not about, it crosses economics. It's not about, are you affluent or are you not? Are you Hispanic or are you Caucasian? None of it matters. It affects everyone equally. So it's not obvious that it's true, but you are in more danger from the coronavirus than almost anything else you can do. The best estimate we have says there's a 0.5% death rate for someone in their 40s. Now, overall, I've seen anywhere from 1% to 2%. So it depends on whether we're talking about, whether studies have talked about just China or they've included other countries. The best guess right now is for someone in their 40s, it's a 0.4% death rate, which obviously is less than 1%. This is what it seems to have been in Hubei, China, based on available information. So as a 40-year-old, as a 40-something-year-old, I might hear this or hear that the vast majority of people who die are older than me. And I could feel safe. The thing is, nothing I ever do in daily life has a 0.4% death rate. If suddenly normal life becomes 0.4% fatal, or more for someone over 60, and we don't change our behavior, it's a mistake. Driving a car, death rate is way lower. Getting on an airplane, way lower. Struck by lightning, even lower. You know, things that people worry about. Getting shot on the street, the death rates are all lower than that. So the fact is, there are other things we are afraid of, that we are in less risk than the coronavirus. We need to be aware of that. So in the same way, someone younger than me might hear that no one their age has ever died and feel indestructible. They don't have to worry. But the problem is, even if you don't die, a bad case of the coronavirus is not something you want to go through. You get sedated and they put you on a machine that forces your lungs to breathe, a ventilator. It is thoroughly unpleasant. I'm told. I've not experienced it firsthand. I don't ever want to experience it, and I hope you don't either. In Italy, people as young as 18 have required intensive care. Even if you are 25 to 40, big steps to protect yourself make sense. And if you are older, this is even more true. Now, even if you don't contract the coronavirus in any significant way, let's say you get a cold, but you don't get, it's not a serious case, you could still spread it to others, and those others could have a very different reaction. It's about the multiple effect. It's not necessarily how it just affects you. It's everybody you can come into contact with, potentially hundreds of people. And a percentage of those, maybe some of them your family, will become sick and die. And that's what to focus on. It's exponential growth. It means that it's completely prudent to cancel or pause every public gathering we can, including school, even if it causes a severe strain or inconvenience. So let me give you an example. In Italy, the coronavirus deaths grew at 7 times per week. Every week was 7 times more than the week before. So let's look at what this means in a hypothetical region with 100 free ICU beds with ventilators. Now, by the way, 100 free beds is a lot because in the United States of America, most hospitals work at or close capacity. It's a for-profit organization. They don't make money in having a bed that's not filled. They rent or they pay rent or overhead, they buy equipment. They want equipment that's being used. They don't want equipment that's sitting on a shelf. So the majority of beds there's about 140,000 in the US today. The majority of those are presently being used. But let's put that aside for a moment. Let's assume in a hypothetical area, there is a hospital with 100 free beds, none of them being used. Week 1, we have one serious case that needs an ICU, bed, and a ventilator. Again, no problem. What's one case? We got 99 more beds. Week 2, now we have 7 serious cases. Still, no serious problem. Week 3, 49 serious cases. Now you're at half capacity. Things are starting to get hectic. Week 4, you have 343 cases. In just 7 days, this gone from manageable to complete and total crisis. People now can't get the care they need, including for other emergencies like strokes, car accidents, heart attacks. You're talking about having mobile hospitals on parking lots and in dorms and in hotels and any place they can put them. Doctors now have to choose between caring for a 40-year-old mother of 2 and a healthy 25-year-old versus a 35-year-old who's pregnant. This is happening in Italy now. Your only way to get these people treatment is to move massive numbers of critically ill people to other cities that haven't been hit yet. This is happening in Italy too. If you're sick and you're in Rome and there's not enough beds and they want to move you to Milan where they haven't been hit and there are beds, moving a critically ill person from one location to another is complicated, risky. It may be the only chance they got. Week 5, 2,401 cases for 100 beds. Statistically, your hospitals barely even exist at this point. Moving that many people will be near impossible, even if there is room for them somewhere else. You don't have the manpower, the ambulances, the airplanes or the helicopters. You don't have the infrastructure to move that many sick people. Not to mention treating the ones you presently are trying to do with the beds you got. If you want to prevent needless death, the experience in China and now Italy shows you need to take dramatic steps to slow growth before the situation looks really bad. That's very hard for policymakers, hence the disasters in China, in Italy. So right now, how this unfolds and how many die depends on you and me. It depends on what we do in the days and weeks to come. Now, these numbers were from this morning. I guarantee you they've already changed. But worldwide, there's 179,057 confirmed coronavirus infections. 78,000, or almost half, have recovered. And 7,057 have died. In China, which has had almost half of all cases, 81,032 people were infected, 67,910 recovered, the overwhelming majority, and 3,217 have died. There's another 11,000 that are in the mix. Italy, 27,980 infected, 2,749 recovered. So there's a good 25,000 still unaccounted for there, and 2,158 dead. Those numbers are a hell of a lot worse than China. In China, 81,000 infected, 3,000 dead. In Italy, 28,000 infected, almost, just under, and almost 2,200 dead. As a percentage, that's not good math. We're not moving in the right direction. Now, today, the US has 4,138 infected, 12 recovered, 71 deaths. Most of those have been in Seattle, Washington. New York has 6 deaths. New Jersey has 2 deaths. In the last 24 hours, New Jersey cases have more than doubled. Yesterday, there were 98 confirmed cases. Today is 176. Today, we are at the same point Italy was 2 weeks ago. They didn't do enough. Today, all of Italy is in lockdown. We need to do that now so that we're not in the situation Italy is. We see where things are going. The question is, are we smart enough to do anything about it? So what can you do? You need to focus on personal hygiene. Wash your hands at least 20 seconds every time. Every time you come into contact with a new area or with a new person, hopefully you don't physical contact with that person, wash your hands at least 20 seconds. Don't touch your face with your hands. As I'm sitting here doing it, I know it's very difficult. We touch our mouths, we touch our nose, we touch our eyes, we brush our hair. Don't do it. It's a habit. I know it's difficult. It's difficult. I'm saying it's difficult as I'm doing it. I get it, but it is something we all need to work on. 3, keep distance of 6 feet from other people. That means no hugs, no handshakes, or kisses and greeting. The transmission is on contact. Don't go to locations with many people like movie theaters, gyms, and shopping malls. This is the reason why many schools are already closing. Today, the governors of New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey banned gatherings of more than 50 people and ordered the closings of many businesses after 8 p.m. Bars and restaurants will be limited to takeout and delivery. Now, hey, I get it. If I own a restaurant and the governor is telling me I gotta close my shop or I can only do takeout, like what the hell? You're putting me out of business. So unfortunately, in order to keep everyone, we must trump the benefit of one, or to help the many, we have to trump the rights of the few. So I don't like it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's right, but it is a reality, and I understand why they're doing it. I wish I had a better alternative. Well, the alternative is that we all do what we need to do and we self-quarantine. But the reality is a lot of people don't understand, are not informed, and are not going to make the right decisions or that benefit either them or others. And for that reason, these rules are being imposed. Now, just today, 2 hours ago, President Trump suggested that no one should go to meetings with more than 10 people. It's not a requirement, it's not an order, it's only a suggestion. And in states around the country, they've already made those requirements as orders. So Michigan, California, Washington, a lot of these states, Chicago, Illinois, a lot of these governors have already issued similar rulings. What is Andres Mejer Law doing? So we have canceled all speaking engagements at churches and events until further notice. For example, yesterday we canceled a seminar at a church scheduled for 200 people to talk about the public charge because we believe safety is more important. So yes, the public charge is important. That's why we've devoted 3 or over 4 of these programs just to talk about different aspects of it. But, if we're sick and we pass away, God forbid, that is much more important than the public charge is today. Public charge will be with us for a while. I hope the coronavirus is not, if we act appropriately. However, our office will remain open unless ordered to close by the government. Even if it's ordered to close, we have the capacity to work remotely, and it is what most of our employees are already doing. Even if ordered to close, our phones are answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. During business hours, we answer our phones ourselves. After hours, we have an answering service. And we hope to be able to continue to answer our phones and to service you, our clients, in person or otherwise. We are still accepting new appointments, but it's by appointment only. Now, this is not new. It's been our policy for at least 2 years. We don't meet anybody without an appointment. That means if you show up at our office, you say, I want to speak to the attorney, they're going to ask you, do you have an appointment? You're going to say no. They're going to say, well, sir, let's try to make you one. Let's see where we can accommodate you. And chances are you're not going to get an appointment even that day. That's been true for a while now. Sometimes we have a cancellation and maybe we fit you in a couple of hours later, depending on what our capacity is. But generally speaking, we see new potential clients with appointments only. Existing clients, same thing, appointments only. The attorney that you work with, because we are 5 attorneys and over 15 support staff, the attorney you're working with may not even be in the office. He or she may be in court. They may be at immigration. They may be unavailable. They may be on trial. We don't know. So it needs to be by appointment only. Now, for new potential clients, we're highly encouraging all new potential clients to make use of our phone or video conferencing features. We've always had them, but now we're using them because we're told we have to. If we don't meet in person, we have means to deal with that. For our existing clients, we are only meeting via phone or video. Many of our employees are working remotely. We are a paperless office. That means is I could take my laptop and my phone and work from anywhere in the world and still help you and still talk to you and still review your case, your papers, your documents. I can work from anywhere. This isn't new. We've been working on this for years. But now we're communicating it with you and you get the benefit of that, of the investments that we have made. Because as other attorneys have to close their office, we do not, because we could talk to you and we can work from home. So for our existing clients, again, we're meeting via phone or video conferencing. If you need documents that need to be signed, look, we do immigration, right? That means there's petitions and supporting documents. We may have all of your documents, but if you haven't signed a petition, then we can't file it. So we can review the document with you remotely through video or even phone. We can email it to you, we review it, go item by item, question by question, so that you understand what you're answering, but more importantly, what you're signing, but more importantly, that it is perfect. And what I mean by perfect is every answer is correct to the best of your ability. We don't want any misspellings or mistakes of any kind. Now, so we can review it, then I can either email it to you, you print it out, sign it, and return it, or if you don't have the ability to print it out, we can mail it to you. Now, immigration requires original signatures. Otherwise, you could just fax it back, or you could take a photograph on your phone and send us the image. That's not good enough. We need an original. So you're going to print it out, or we're going to mail it to you. You're going to sign it, and you're going to send it back. We ask, please, if you or a member of your family is unwell with a cold or otherwise, we ask you remain at home and you do your consultation via phone or video conferencing. Every employee has parents and children. We don't want anyone exposed to this. We don't want to extend the time of the coronavirus any more than we need to. So take advantage of our capabilities. Speak to us remotely. We're here to answer your questions. We're here to help. To talk to our staff to determine if you need an appointment, give us a call or email info@andresmejerlaw.com. Thank you for your patience. Next week we come back to immigration, our favorite subject. But like I said, coronavirus knows no boundaries. Thank you very much. Until next time.